there's been so many times over the course of my life where I've tried to do things my own way and in my own strength. And my life has been a battle zone almost from the very beginning. And even with all of the lessons and trials that I've gone through, I still haven't actually grasped complete surrender to God and his capabilities. And, as I'm starting this mission and as I'm trying to reach out and help other men that are going through the same things that I've gone through or broken and lost and trying to fight these battles on their own, um, I still get so caught up in the fact that I'm just an instrument for God. And as I go through the Bible and I see all these men that receive a calling from God and then they do it, and it seems so easy. And so it seems so much like they don't have to put any effort into it. And in my own life, potential has been the greatest phrase ever given to me from high school. The teachers telling me how much potential I had to whenever I was in the Marine Corps, then they always spoke of my potential and that I was most likely to do something. But looking back, um, even though I've succeeded in some pretty mighty things, I've failed more often than not. And, and when I get to the book of Judges and I read about Gideon, he just, he speaks to me in a way that, I want to be David. I want to be that one that, leads in a mighty, forceful way and strength. And I want to be, you know, Peter who jumps out of the boat fearlessly, even if I drowned in the end. And Gideon, whenever we first read about Gideon, he's in a wine press threshing wheat, and it's such a horrible place for the job, and it's like suffocating to be in that area doing that job. And that's how it's been as I've tried to do things on my own, is I'm suffocated by my own good intentions. I've ruined many relationships trying to control and trying to show people how good I am or how able I am. And in the long run, it just ended up with me destroying things. And whenever we find Gideon in that wine press, and the angel of the Lord appears to him and he tells him, "The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor." And God's calling him something that he is clearly not. He's a coward hiding from the Midianites in a wine press. And whenever I take that and I connect it to my own life, where I call myself things like incapable or ignorant, which is what Gideon would be, an incapable coward, even though he's trying to provide for his family, he's not doing it in a place that he can even succeed at. And God shows up and calls him something that he's not. And I know that in my life, there's been times where somebody has came up to me and I know it was from God, where they encouraged me in the areas where I felt the weakest, or they would tell me how much of an encouragement I was to them in their calling or mission for God. And Gideon, he's not ready to have a conversation with God, so he challenges him instead, asking him, if he's God and he's with him, then why are they going through all the trials that they're going through? Why is Israel destroyed? And God commands him to go and save Israel in his own strength. And that's exactly what I've tried to do my entire life, is to, I know God called me to do something, and then I try to do it on my own. And one screw up after one screw up after one screw up just amounts to what feels like an accumulation of failures. And that's exactly what Gideon says in response to the Lord. And he says, "Oh, please, Lord, I'm the from the least of the tribes of Manasseh, and I'm the least of my father's house." And he said, "I'm not qualified to do this job that you're calling me to do." And the Lord said, "But I am with you, and you will defeat the Midianites." And that's what he does when he gives us callings. And that, I know there's millions of men out there that have been just as broken as I have been, and sometimes still am. I know that there's ones that have been through trials and tribulations far beyond anything I've ever seen. And the Lord was with me, and he's with every one of us as we face these impossible trials or these impossible callings in our lives. And he gives us the victory. And he said to him, you have victory as one man. Whenever the Lord is empowering us, whenever he is supporting us, we can accomplish any task that is before us. And, there isn't something that we can justify our disobedience with. And after God says that to Gideon, Gideon gets out of his winepress, his coffin of calling, and he goes and gets a sacrifice for the Lord, and the Lord consumes his sacrifice. And Gideon just had to move, and the Lord already starts bringing his magnificence in front of him. And it scared Gideon, and Gideon was ready to be obedient. He wanted to be obedient. He didn't have the confidence to be obedient. So the angel of the Lord tells him to go destroy the idols of his father. And Gideon doesn't even have the guts to do what the angel of the Lord called him to do. He goes and does it at night, hiding again. So he's hiding in a wine press at the beginning. God calls him a man of valor. He gets out of the wine press. The angel of the Lord shows him the fire that he can consume things with. And then Gideon is still afraid and tears down the idols at night. And the townspeople wanted to kill him, but they were stopped by Gideon's father. And so the angel of the Lord had a provision right there at the very beginning. And, the key takeaways just from the beginning part of the story, just from the start of Gideon's story, is that Gideon is suffocating in his intentions. The angel of the Lord shows up and calls him a name that is clearly not a definition of Gideon. Gideon gets out of the winepress, gets to see the fire of the Lord, and then cowardly goes back to doing what the Lord's called him to do and hiding. And yet God still provides for him again by preventing the townspeople from harming him. And that's an amazing start to a story that I can identify with on so many different levels, because not only have I had to obey the calling the Lord's had on me almost my entire life, but I've questioned him and I've tested him. And in the end, he didn't command me to destroy my idols, but he has destroyed them. My ex-wife was an idol. My stepdaughter was an idol. I wanted to be her dad more than anything in the world, and he ended up removing both of them from my life. I was an idol of my own, where I thought that my intelligence and my strength and my composure and my ability to fix everything was far beyond anything that anything in this world could bring in front of me. And from the time I went into the Marine Corps to share God with people, until not too long ago, I was trying to do it all on my own and my own strength. And he took and destroyed and consumed with the fire everything that I had worshiped in my life. And as I'm beginning this ministry and I'm starting this incredible journey of reaching out for men that are broken and lost just like me, I know that as a foundation, if we don't burn up our idols, if we don't burn up the things in our lives that we put before God, he can't complete the mission no matter what. We can't complete the mission. He'll complete the mission, but he's going to burn up your idols first. He doesn't need us, but he will use us. And whenever he calls us, he will enable us to be what he's called us to do. So if you're in a wine press threshing wheat right now, suffocating on your own intentions, then the only thing you can do is surrender your idols, and give everything to God. And then he can use you in magnificent ways. And we're going to see that with Gideon. He is calling Gideon to war. He called him out of the wine press and he called him to war. And if you're in your own war, or in your own wine press today, facing your own wars and battles, you can either suffocate in your wine press or you can get out and move and trust God. Which one are you going to do?